Well, greetings once again, my friends, my fellow modelers, and my fellow ocean liner lovers. I would like to welcome you to another video on a fantastic subject of these large, beautiful, graceful vessels. Those of you that are familiar with my channel have seen my videos on the SS Poseidon from Irwin Allen's 1972 classic film, The Poseidon Adventure. That ship was actually the RMS Queen Mary, and I'll be doing a build of the SS Poseidon using the model kit of the Queen Mary from Advent, released in 1972, but that's another video. Today's topic is another beautiful ocean liner that, although is fictional, is based on an actual ship. I am referring to the Antonia Graza, that absolutely gorgeous ship seen in the movie Ghost Ship. The Antonia Graza was actually inspired by and based on the SS Andrea Doria. Of course, the Andrea Doria was struck by the Stockholm and ultimately sank, but that is also another video. I'm planning a future build of the Antonia Graza. However, I think it's going to be a scratch build, very similar to the scratch build that I did of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald, because I just can't find a model kit of the Andrea Doria, as of now anyway. Directed by Steve Beck, Ghost Ship was released in 2002. The story was written by Mark Hanlon. Ghost Ship features a salvage crew as they attempt to rescue a rig. Incidentally, the rig and the tugboat used in tow were also filming miniatures. Actually, the only existing vessel filmed were the shots of the tugboat Arctic Warrior. After salvaging the rig and saving it from sinking, the crew is relaxing, enjoying a drink in a bar after being paid. That is when they are approached by someone called Ferryman, who claimed to be a pilot. He shows them what appears to be a large ocean liner adrift. He agrees to tell them location for a percentage of the salvage price of the vessel. Ultimately, they end up going out to the location and discovering that the ship was in fact the lost liner Antonia Graza. The film opens with a beautiful liner hosting the guests in a festive atmosphere. The bow is dressed in lights and there is music, drink, and dancing. Well, the opening scene of the ship was actually the filming model. We later see the passengers killed by a cable that tightens and shoots across the bow, cutting down the passengers. Those of whom that were not killed by the cable were actually poisoned by the criminals aboard posing as the crew. That would have happened in the early 1960s, 1962 I believe. We would then flash forward to 2002 and the Arctic Warrior would find her adrift. She is a dark, menacing hulk coming out of the darkness on a rainy and stormy night. Still a beautiful sight. We see the sheer size of her as compared to the Arctic Warrior, who is dwarfed by her. Eventually, the Arctic Warrior is destroyed, and the crew become trapped aboard the Antonia Graza. But this video is not actually going to be about the movie. Perhaps I'll do a video on the Ghost Ship storyline as soon as I get the DVD, which is coming in very shortly. So let's talk about the filming model. When it comes to the Antonia Graza, the idea of actually filming aboard a ship was the plan. However, after viewing several existing ships, it was decided that in order to obtain the shots needed, the bulkheads and walls would need to be removed. Of course, that is expensive. Also, the cramped spaces would pose a problem for filming as well. Sets were built to show the interior of the ship and would be used for filming. It would also be decided that it would be better to use a filming model for the exterior shots of the ship. This would introduce Photon VFX to the project. Photon VFX is a visual effects and animation company that was based in Australia. They would create a filming model of the Antonia Graza. It would be over 35 feet long and weigh well over a ton. It would be combined to use with the live shots of the actors as well as the CGI effects. The Antonia Graza was modeled after the SS Andrea Doria, and the filming model would be roughly 1/20th size scale of the ship. It should also be noted that a full-size replica of the bow area, or the forecastle deck, was also constructed for filming the actors as they appeared aboard the ship. It would be built in Newstead, Queensland, and took about 6 weeks to construct and was nearly 100 feet high when completed. The shots of the Antonio Graza adrift on the open ocean were shot in Moortown Bay, where the aerial shots of the filming model were used. For the scenes of the Antonio Graza used sailing through the open ocean, Photon VFX actually used footage of a real ocean liner at sea off the coast of New South Wales. They also used green screen footage of the filming model, and they would digitally remove the ship from the footage and superimpose the filming model over it to make the Antonio Graza come to life. Greg Tuckwell would head the crew of the model makers for the film. However, before production of the filming model could start, there had to be a plan in place to follow. The first stages of the Antonio Graza were drawings. Inspired by the Andrea Doria as well as the liners of the time from the 1960s, a more refined drawing of the ship would then be used as reference for the model. The final drawing would feature the addition of the hatches on the decks as well as the adding of the deck names. The creation of the forward shelter well deck in the opening scene was an example of something that would be added to the filming model, as it was not in the design of the Andrea Doria. The area had to be partially enclosed in order to film the opening scenes of the passengers being taken down by the cable. Also, the Lido on the boat deck was also designed from scratch and added to the top of the filming model. This area had the swimming pool. An original painting of the Antonio Graza was also created and can be seen hanging in the captain's cabin in the film. In the start of the film, we see the Antonio Graza in her heyday, looking absolutely beautiful. She is all lit up and appears brand new. After the shots used for the ship sailing in the open scenes of the filming model had to be altered due to her deteriorating condition, as she is seen in the rest of the movie. The filming model would be aged and weathered, and even in that condition, it was still beautiful, and they did an amazing job with the rust and the barnacles and everything that you would think of an aged ocean liner adrift for 40 years. A series of explosions would ultimately doom the Antonio Graza, and she would ultimately sink, freeing the souls trapped inside her. Like I said earlier in the video, I'm always on the lookout for an Andrea Doria model kit. I think that the Antonio Graza, however, is going to have to be built from scratch, along the same lines that I did of the SS Edmund Fitzgerald. That's in 1/400 scale, and that's a different video. Getting back to the Antonio Graza filming model, I have been unable to find her current location. Assuming that the model is still in existence after the explosion and sinking of her on film, I think she may be owned by a private collector or totally lost altogether. So my friends, I just wanted to give you some information on this fantastic model built for the 2002 film Ghost Ship that was inspired by the SS Andrea Doria. I will also be doing a history of the Antonio Graza soon, as the DVD has many timelines and information that was not in the film. I will also show you the DVD as well. I will then plan out the actual model build of the ship, and it's going to be a lot of fun. So my friends, I thank you so much for your support, your kind words on all these projects, and I thank you for watching. And until my next video, I'll talk to you soon.